Yes, I think that's pretty well agreed, that there may be last time, they may not have got it quite right. So one debate only, the mayor is ruling that, and it's got the support of the party leaders, I understand. One debate only, but with separate votes, obviously, at the end of the debate. Councillor Davies.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I am moving the recommendation from Cabinet, which has been forwarded to Council this evening around the revision of Council's constitution. Mr. Mayor, the changes that we're discussing tonight have their origins in the recommendations from the corporate peer challenge, which took place in Wirral last October and produced a fairly detailed report. One of the key recommendations from that report was that the Council should, and I quote, take the urgent steps that you have identified to strengthen governance. Make sure you complete a full review of governance and decision making thoroughly, including the scheme of delegation, ensuring the arrangements are understood and adhered to. And in that same report, Mr. Mayor, the peer team noted that at that stage we were at the initial stages of undertaking a review of our overview and scrutiny arrangements, including how they were supported by the organisation, ensuring more independent and impartial support to members from a corporate policy unit. The team said, following their visit, that we were, quote, sensibly seeking expertise of the Centre for Public Scrutiny to review the function further so it plays a more effective role. We had the director of that organisation at the present one of our member development events at the Floor Pavilion. The corporate challenge team, Mr. Mayor, also noted that we were starting to consider how the role of neighbourhood forums might develop further to strengthen local leadership. And then they went on to note that we were looking outside Wirral, good practice elsewhere and other local authorities, so we could learn from good practice and become a learning organisation. So all of these issues that were raised by the peer challenge team were then incorporated in the improvement plan agreed with the Local Government Association, part of the work that the improvement board carried out. In addition to that, we had a smaller group of elected members, the Democracy Working Group, chaired by my deputy leader, Councillor McLachlan, looking at many of these governance issues. And then we've also had 5 member events, which in general terms have been well attended by elected members. And then finally we had quite a detailed questionnaire, which was sent out to all elected members, and we had quite a good response to that around all of these issues. So I think we've had a fairly exhaustive appraisal, if you like, of all of these matters in response to the recommendations of the corporate challenge team. I want to say, in terms of introducing these changes at the outset, that I want to be very clear that the administration intend to continue to operate the cabinet and leader model. Now, I know this has generated some discussion, and I acknowledge that there is a difference of opinion between ourselves and the other groups on this council. But certainly for my part, I have not seen convincing evidence that merely changing back to the old committee system will address all of the issues that the corporate peer team raised following their visit in October. So the changes that I'm proposing tonight are predicated on the council continuing to operate the cabinet and leader system with the improvements, and I do believe there are improvements we're proposing this evening, and we believe this is the best model to take Wirral forward. I think to some extent you can get hung up really on structures, because in my view, I would say this about any model actually, my sort of observation, having now looked at a number of authorities, that any model works best if all members, and I mean all members, and officers have a positive mindset and engage constructively. And that is a key, I think, challenge really for us as part of changing the culture of the organisation. So, what are the aims of the changes that we're proposing? Well, we want to clearly improve our governance and decision-making procedures. We want to ensure that there is clarity about the role, distinctive role of officers and members. We want to enhance the role of non-executive members in influencing policy through changing the scrutiny process. We want to establish a new model of neighbourhood working, which enhances the role of members as community champions and achieves greater engagement from local residents. And finally, we want to introduce a new procedure for council, which is designed to focus on issues which the council are responsible for and better holds the executive to account. Now, these changes, I believe, will recognise the outcome of the democratic process by giving appropriate authority to the ruling group on the council to carry out its policies, but at the same time ensuring that there is a transparent process for holding the administration to account and giving the opposition appropriate opportunity to question the administration and propose alternative policies and programmes. So, if I can just talk a little bit about the actual changes very briefly. First of all, on scrutiny. Now, the proposal here is to replace the existing 6 scrutiny committees with 3 new policy and performance committees, which broadly align with the 3 strategic directorates we've just put in place under the Chief Executive's leadership. There will also be one coordinating committee to oversee the new arrangements and deal with cross-cutting matters. Now, the key point to emphasise is that the new committees will be much more involved in influencing council policy before it's been considered by the executive. In other words, I think we want to move away from the current model where I think too often scrutiny committees are reactive to decisions made by the executive to actually influencing policy far more kind of